Chapter 1. Tea, Blood, and CCTV. Detective Inspector Alex Mercer had a theory. Nothing good ever started with a phone call before your first cup of tea. And sure enough, when his phone buzzed at 6:13 a.m., he was still half buried in the duvet, contemplating retirement, murder, and whether milk before or after tea was a criminal offense. "Mercer," he croaked. "D.I. Mercer, it's Sergeant Patel. We've got a body on Baker Street." He sighed. "Please tell me it's not Sherlock Holmes." "No, sir." Though the irony hasn't escaped anyone. Male, mid-30s, shot once. We're still securing the scene. Mercer rolled out of bed, muttering, "Well, that's one way to start the day. Text me the address." And Patel, no one says, "Elementary? Got it?" I know. By the time he arrived, London had decided to drizzle not quite rain, but enough to soak your shoes out of spite. A small crowd had gathered behind the yellow tape, and the press vans were already circling like sharks that smelled headlines. The victim lay near a coffee cart, flat on the pavement, wearing a charcoal suit and an expression that suggested he'd been surprised, which, in Mercer's experience, most murder victims were. "Name?" Mercer asked. "Paul Whitby," Patel said, flipping through his notebook. "Local banker. Lived 2 streets over. No wallet, no phone. CCTV might have caught something. There's a camera right above the cart." Mercer glanced up at the lens. "Thank God for Big Brother," Patel smirked. "You think it's a robbery?" Mercer squatted by the body, noting the clean entry wound just below the sternum. "If it was, it's the tidiest robbery I've ever seen. No struggle. One shot. Close range. Professional." He looked at the barista, who was being comforted by another officer. "Who found him?" "She did. Said he ordered a flat white, went to answer a call, and then," Patel gestured. "Bang. Lucky day for her, unlucky for him." Mercer stood up. "Let's pull the CCTV, check phone records, and see who wanted a banker dead before breakfast." And oftus within. Back at the station, Mercer and Patel watched the footage. The grainy black and white image showed Whitby standing by the cart, phone to his ear. Then from the left side of the frame, a tall figure in a black coat approached, paused briefly, and there was a flash. Whitby fell. The shooter walked calmly away. "Can't see the face," Patel said. "Too much shadow. But look there," Mercer pointed. "He turns just enough to show a ring on his right hand. Big. Distinctive. That's not random." "You think that's a clue?" Mercer grinned. "I think it's the start of my next headache." Chapter 2. Dead Men Don't Do Accounting. Detective Inspector Alex Mercer had never trusted bankers. It wasn't personal. He simply found it hard to respect anyone who could say liquidity ratio without blushing. Now, sitting in his office at Holborn Police Station, he was staring at the late Paul Whitby's personnel file with the kind of suspicion normally reserved for politicians, and meat labeled chickenish. 36. No priors. Decent salary, Patel summarized. Worked at Arden and Pike Investments for 8 years. Lives alone in Marylebone. No spouse, no kids. Neighbors say he was quiet. "They always say that," Mercer muttered. "He was quiet. Kept to himself. Never murdered anyone in front of me." Patel smirked. "You think it's personal?" Mercer leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "If it were random, the shooter wouldn't have waited for him to answer the phone. Whoever called him is connected." Patel nodded. "Phone records are coming in." Minus. By mid-morning, the drizzle had turned into a proper London rain, the kind that made you question your life choices. Mercer and Patel stepped out, umbrellas up, on their way to Arden and Pike's glass tower in the city. Inside, the reception smelled like money and cold perfume. A woman with perfect posture and an even more perfect accent greeted them. "Detective Mercer, Sergeant Patel. We've been expecting you. Mr. Pike will see you in his office." In 25, Mr. Andrew Pike looked exactly like a man who had never taken public transport. Perfect navy suit, perfect tie knot, and a watch that could pay Mercer's mortgage. "Terrible business," Pike said smoothly. "Paul was valued, reliable. We're all in shock." "Of course you are," Mercer said, scanning the office. What exactly did he do here? Risk management, Pike replied. He handled sensitive accounts, mostly private clients, high net worth individuals. Anyone particularly high or particularly net worthy? Mercer asked. Pike gave a tight smile. Our clients expect discretion. Dead men don't, Mercer said. We'll need his work computer and client list. That's confidential, Pike began. Patel coughed. So is murder, sir. Pike's smile froze. I'll have IT prepare the files. As they left, Mercer murmured, if I had £1 for every executive who said confidential, I'd be able to afford his tie. In the Caston phrase, Patel grinned. You think he's hiding something? Mercer stopped by the lift. Everyone's hiding something. The trick is finding out who's hiding murder. It's plain. Back at the station, Patel handed him a fresh sheet. Phone records in. Last call Whitby took before he was shot came from an unregistered number. But get this, 2 minutes before that, he called someone at Arden and Pike. Mercer frowned. Name? Cassandra Vale. He froze. Cass Vale? As in, Patel checked the file. Yeah, Cassandra Vale, head of compliance. Why, you know her? Mercer sighed. We dated. Briefly. Until she decided my job was too exciting and hers was too ethical. Patel chuckled. Looks like she's about to get both. Mercer stood, grabbing his coat. Let's go pay Cassandra a visit. If anyone at that firm knows where the bodies are buried, it's her. Chapter 3. An old flame in high finance. Cassandra Vale hadn't changed much. Still brilliant, still intimidating, and still able to make Alex Mercer feel like a schoolboy who'd just been caught cheating. When Mercer and Patel stepped into her office at Arden and Pike, she was typing furiously. Her dark hair was tied back, her eyes razor sharp. Alex? She said coolly. It's been, what, 2 years? 3, Mercer replied. But who's counting? Patel cleared his throat. D.I. Mercer. Sergeant Patel. Met police. We're investigating Paul Whitby's death. Cassandra's face softened a fraction. Paul. God. I heard he was a good man. You spoke to him before he died, Mercer said. Care to tell us why? She hesitated, then sighed. Paul called me early that morning, said he'd found something irregular in one of our client portfolios. Claimed money was being moved offshore without authorization. He wanted to meet me before work. Then, nothing. Which client? Mercer asked. She shook her head. He didn't say, but he sounded scared. Patel scribbled notes. You think he was killed over that? Cassandra met Mercer's gaze. In this business, people kill over decimal points. And Welbid Dow. Chapter 4. Coffee, Codes, and Clues. Back at the station, the tech team cracked Whitby's laptop. Hidden behind several layers of encryption was a spreadsheet labeled Project Albion. Mercer leaned over the analyst's shoulder. What am I looking at? Offshore transfers, the analyst said. Hundreds of thousands moved through shell companies, Cayman Islands, Dubai, Zurich, all cleaned and funneled into a private fund. Patel frowned. Who's the beneficiary? The analyst clicked a few times. A name appeared on screen. A. Pike. Mercer whistled. Well, well. Mr. Confidential himself. Log God. Chapter 5. Tea with a liar. They brought Pike back in for questioning. He arrived with a lawyer and a cologne strong enough to stun an ox. Detective, Pike said smoothly, I understand you've been snooping through my company's files. Just the illegal ones, Mercer said, sliding a printout across the table. Want to explain why your name's attached to a slush fund called Project Albion? Pike's lawyer started. My client has no comment. Oh, come on, Mercer said. Paul Whitby found this, didn't he? Tried to confront you. You had him silenced. Pike leaned back, too calm. Detective, I suggest you tread carefully. You have no proof. End quote. Mercer grinned. Not yet, but you should see what CCTV picked up. That was a bluff, but Pike flinched. Just enough. Chapter 6. The Ring. Hours later, Patel burst into Mercer's office, soaked from the rain. Boss. Forensics pulled a new detail from the CCTV footage, the shooter's ring. Custom made, signet style. Guess what? Mercer raised an eyebrow. Don't tell me. Patel grinned. Matches one Cassandra Vale ordered last year. Her initials engraved on the inside. Mercer blinked. Cassandra? No. She's not. He stopped. She could be. It's Dan. Chapter 7. Truth and Betrayal. They found Cassandra at her flat in Marylebone, packing a suitcase. Going somewhere? Mercer asked. She froze. Alex, it's not what it looks like. It looks like guilt. I didn't kill Paul, she said quickly. But I knew. He found out about Project Albion and told me. I went to Pike. I thought he'd fix it. Instead, he panicked. Sent someone to handle it. When Paul was killed, Pike forced me to cover it up. Said he'd ruin me too. Mercer stared at her. So why run? Because Pike isn't working alone, she whispered. The fund wasn't just his. It's half the bloody board MPs, investors, judges. You can't stop them, Alex. Patel stepped forward. We can try. Cassandra looked at Mercer, eyes wet. If you go after them, you'll be finished. He smiled faintly. Wouldn't be the first time. In Remand, Chapter 8. The Trap. That night, Mercer set a trap. He leaked a CCTV enhancement to Pike's lawyer fake footage showing Cassandra at the scene. Within 2 hours, Pike called her, arranging a midnight meeting at an underground car park. Mercer and Patel were already there, waiting in an unmarked van. Pike arrived in a black Mercedes, his expression smug. He stepped out, briefcase in hand. You shouldn't have come, Cassandra, he said. You're a liability. Cassandra, wired for sound, replied, and you're sloppy. That was Mercer's cue. He stepped out of the shadows, gun drawn. Morning, Mr. Pike. Fancy seeing you here. Pike froze. You? Yeah, me. By the way, Mercer said, nice ring you don't have. Your hitman's did. Police lights flooded the lot. Pike was cuffed before he could say confidential. It's space. Chapter 9. Epilogue. One more cup. A week later, Mercer sat at his desk, nursing his tea. Patel knocked and leaned in. Crown prosecution's happy. Pike's singing like a canary. Cassandra's in witness protection. Mercer nodded. Good. She deserves better than this city. Patel smirked. And you, boss? You gonna take a break? Mercer sipped his tea. Breaks are for people who believe in happy endings. The phone rang. He sighed. See? London never sleeps. D.I. Mercer, said the voice on the line. We've got another one. Soho. Looks messy. Mercer stood, grabbing his coat. Of course it does. He hung up, drained the last of his tea, and muttered to himself. Let's go ruin someone else's morning. 18. The end.